Hello and welcome to the session today. On semester 2, we are talking about second semester foundation course number 3, unit 4. Unit 3 was MS Word, unit 4 is PowerPoint. This particular session will be the last segment of PowerPoint because the next one will be Excel whenever I do it. So as a part of the foundation course, we are talking about certain essential skills that are needed for students in order to be successful with their job interviews, to get a job, because all these companies look for certain skills which is not part of your academic curriculum, and that's why APSSDC has arranged for these kind of trainings where the interventions happen on essential elements. So foundation course number 3 for second semester essentially talks about computer fundamentals and office tools, where we will train you on Word, PowerPoint and Excel. Word is done. We had been talking about PowerPoint for last 2-3 days, and this is the last segment for PowerPoint. So what we have learnt in terms of PowerPoint is the features, how to create a blank presentation using templates, inserting and deleting slides in a presentation, adding clip art, pictures, inserting other objects, audio, video, resizing this and scaling of an object, slide transition and custom animation. Today we'll talk about slide transition and custom animation. The way we are going to learn this entire thing one for all is I will prepare a PowerPoint presentation for you. So the learning part, the way we began was with features and how to create a presentation. Then we looked at adding and editing text, adding and formatting images, designing the presentation in terms of background, header, footer, alignment, then slideshow, adding audio or video, which we saw yesterday. We also looked at certain elements of adding graphs, and today we'll talk about custom animation. All right. So let's begin. I want to show you how to create a presentation, and we will also learn a lot of elements. So first and foremost, you see I'm not sure if it's visible. There is a start button here. Okay. So you can go to the start button and open PowerPoint from here, or you can also type PowerPoint on this blank field. The moment you say enter, it will open a blank PowerPoint presentation. Now when you open a PowerPoint presentation, it will always open with, by default, this particular slide, which is for header. Now this is the title slide. Now title slide will have this particular pre-built area, which is like a template. And how do you add a new slide? You can just click here and say enter on your keyboard. The moment you say enter, it will provide you it will give you the provision to add a title, and you can add a text here. So let's first create the title slide. Say for example, we are creating a presentation on what skills do students need in order to be successful with job interviews. So this is something which is pretty prevalent. We are talking about these aspects for more than a year now. Why students do not get jobs, why the conversion of jobs for student is lesser even though they are educated. So we are going to create a presentation about what skills students need today. All right. So some of the data that I will put in may not be realistic. This is only for practice purpose. I don't want to spend too much time researching for data and put numbers. So I will put some random numbers for year on year, some data, so that we can build a graph and we can use that on the PowerPoint. Okay. So let's begin. So I go back to my title slide, and now I'm supposed to add the title here. So let's think of a title. Essential employability skills. This is my title. Now it also gives me a provision to add a subtitle. Now subtitle, let's add My subtitle is why majority of graduates fail to get a job in top corporates. Now if I go to the slide mode, you can click in this particular icon which is here. It's not looking really good, it's looking very dull. So I want to beautify this a little bit. How do we do that? We are on the home button right now, so we can make it bold. So I've made it bold. I also want to change the color. So let me think of a color, let me make it blue. Okay. I can also change the font type, but if I change the font type here, I need to have a uniform font type throughout the presentation. So I want to pick Century Gothic. Okay, so let me select this. Please never choose the font type Comic Sans. Comic Sans is not really a good font. Okay, so that's Century Gothic. Now I want to increase the font size a little bit more. Now this one, this is my subtitle. I want to make it black. Right now it's gray. I will also add the date. So today it's 28th March 2017. Always write the date in this format. If you say 28/3, if you say 2/3, it means 2nd of March for you, but it also means 3rd of February for people who are in United States, because they follow MMDDYY and we follow DDMMYY. So please be sure on that. Now you would have noticed this particular this grid which is there. This is only to ensure that my text is aligned properly. So I am just aligning the text exactly the way it should be, but there is not much gap between the subtitle and the date. So I will just say enter. Okay. Now let me go to the slideshow mode. So this is how my title slide looks like. But the font size of the subtitle is 30 and this is also 30. So I want to reduce this a bit. Okay. You can alternatively also have the date aligned to the left, which is a good practice. Okay. And I want to bring the whole thing into one line. In order to do that, I need to reduce the font size a little bit. So I make it 28. But it's looking way too small. Then I will increase it. So you can keep checking what actually looks good and what not, and you can make changes accordingly. Okay. Now it's looking somewhat better, but still there is a problem. The date is right in the center, so I will okay. Now it doesn't have a black background, so let's put a background here. Right click and format background. So I can have a solid fill or gradient fill. Gradient is a combination of two colors. I can pick whatever color I want from here. So I would leave this as it is. Don't say apply to all. Let's have the background only for the title slide and say close. Now let's go to the slideshow mode. This is how it looks. Essential employability skills. Basically why majority of students fail to get a job in top corporate. All right. Now I want to add my slide. Here I am basically talking about index, but I don't want to keep it in the center. I want to make it left aligned. I want to reduce the font size to probably 30. And I can also beautify the entire header to look different. So I'm just saying solid fill, and I'm choosing a color. I need to change the font color so that it's visible, and I'm increasing the font size just a little bit to 36. Okay. So index page, basically I'm going to introduce and I'm going to mention what the entire presentation will talk about. Okay. So how do I enter text? Go to insert, which is here, and say text box, and click here, and now you can add a text. So let me expand this a bit more. Okay. So index, we will talk about introduction, current scenario, what companies are looking for, key skills, action plan. So let me expand or increase the font size so that this is clearly visible, and I will put a bullet point. Okay. So let me select whichever design I like. So this is looking better. So basically I'll talk about the introduction, current scenario, what companies are looking for, key skills, and action plan. Now before I do anything, I need to save the file. So I'll say save, this particular icon, and just say save, select the destination. The header slide, whatever you had entered, system will automatically pick that as the file name. So it says essential employability skills, and I'm saving it as a PowerPoint presentation. So just click on save. All right. The moment you save, the top portion of the PowerPoint file will automatically pick the name. Now I'm going to add the next slide. Next slide, basically we're talking about introduction. Now you will wonder, let me remove this. So this is my title slide, this is index, this is introduction. It's not consistent at all, right? So what will I do? I will click here on slide number 2, and I will click on this brush. Basically it's a format copier or format painter. Then I'll go to the next slide and just select this. That's it. It will pick the same format from where I have copied it. So I will just expand this a bit, take it up, because I don't really want a space. Now I will quickly check if the alignment is perfect. Yes, it looks perfect. Now let's quickly add text. Now before that, my title slide, the font type is Century Gothic here, but here it is Calibri. So I need to uniformize this as well. So I will select Century Gothic. Here again, instead of clicking one by one, I can say Control A. Control A means select all. Then I say Century Gothic. The same thing happens everywhere. Now let's add a text box. So now I just need to write few words because I'm introducing the entire topic. All right. Now I want to do the entire introduction a little differently. If you remember, in a PowerPoint, if you add too much of a text, your audience may not be interested. So it has to look very graphic. It has to have certain pictures. You need to be the person who will talk more. The presentation, the content will be less, information is going to come from you. The PowerPoint is only a directional methodology. Basically, you are the speaker, you will speak more. If everything is in the PowerPoint, why do they need you? And if you're speaking everything, why do you need the PowerPoint? Which means the contribution of the content on the PowerPoint is only 40%. The remaining 60% is you, that is the presenter. Now, when I have to introduce this particular topic, which is essential employability skills, I should be talking about what is happening right now, why companies are looking for it, what are the challenges that we are facing. So let's quickly just write few lines, then we'll move on to the current status. All right, let's begin. I will quickly check what is my font size here. It is 36. I will reduce this a bit because 36 is not really needed. 32 is fine. Let's quickly check. 32 is looking fine. Yes. I will make this 32 as well. So I'm saying India has emerged as a land of skilled resources in over last 2 decades. We are the warehouse of global workforce today, be it manufacturing, IT, ITES, back office, analytics, development. India has grown as a market for skilled resources. However, in the last few years, we have seen a decline in employability. This is not because of fall in demand, fall in supply. Okay. Now, what do I mean by this? It's not that the organizations don't need skilled resources, and this is a fact today. When people come and tell me that there are not much jobs available, there is unemployment in India, there are not much jobs available, that is not the fact. The jobs are available, but the kind of job that was available in the past, those are not available anymore. Earlier, if some organization is opening up vacancies for data entry, those kind of jobs were pretty much higher. Today, all those jobs are automated. What do we mean by data entry getting automated? Say, for example, you go to a shop, or you go to an organization and you are supplying certain goods. Say, for example, you are supplying bottle of water, all right? So every month you will send some invoices to them. There will be a person in that office who will look at the invoice and do a data entry into the system. the company has to employ 5 such people to do data entry job. So 5 years ago, you had such 5 jobs in each company created, just an example. Then they figured, why am I wasting so much of time manually typing the information? I can automate it. So somebody created a program. When you scan the invoice document, the system automatically picks the data and puts it into the field. That's it. Now what about those 5 people who are doing that kind of job? Earlier, that kind of job offered a salary of say 20,000, 25,000. They need experienced resources, 1 year, fresher with 1 year experience. Today, you don't need such highly educated people. Even a 12th pass person can do that job. Small companies still do a lot of data entry job, which means those graduates who are looking for that job, they don't have such job anymore, because you don't need to be so well qualified to do that job. But what you need to be qualified is to build a platform which can automate something, or do an analytics which can automate something. So the jobs are available, but the quality and the complexity of job has changed, because we are all developing, we are all evolving. While the requirement is evolving and going up, our skills are not in the same proportion. So that is where the problem is, and that is what we will put across in this particular PowerPoint presentation. All right. So let's continue. All right. So I'm saying, however, in the last few years, we have seen a decline in employability. This is not because of fall in demand, it's rather because of fall in supply. The fall in supply is mainly due to skill set mismatch. And if you observed, I made it bold and italics. How do I do that? I select this entire text, come to the home button, click on bold and click on italics. Underline is not needed because it's prominent enough. Okay, so that is my introduction. Next, I'll talk about current scenario. So how do I do? How do I add a new slide? So click here and say enter, and add the title. Current scenario. What will I do next? I will do format copier, because I want it to maintain the same format, right? Paint. Okay, so let me align this correctly now. I'll quickly check if it's looking perfect. Uniform, yes. Index, introduction, current scenario. Now in current scenario, I want to be little different from everybody else. I don't want to write too much of text. Now in order to make presentations like this, you need to have little knowledge, you need to do a little research from internet. Now what I know for sure is number of graduates that India produces every year is equivalent to the entire population of Switzerland. That means every year we are producing a Switzerland only number of graduates. That is my current scenario today. But this scenario also means Switzerland is far more developed, far more skilled compared to India. Switzerland is one of the most evolved and the most innovative country in the world. In terms of innovation chart, as a very small country like South Korea is on top 5. But India is like 60 or 70 or something, all right. So this is what I want to portray as a current scenario. Now how artistically I can do it, how different can I? So let's take a quick look at it. I want to showcase what what Switzerland produces in terms of population every year, or rather what is the overall population of Switzerland, which is equivalent to number of graduates. So how can we do it creatively? That is what I'm going to show you. For that, you need to have an internet connection. Go to google.com and let's pick up the map of Switzerland. Okay, so I'm just saying Switzerland in Europe map. Now this is not looking too good, so I will go to images. Okay, now I will look for something where it's presentable. Okay, so say this particular map where it's already highlighted, but if you observe, let me click on view image, but if you observe, there is a watermark here, which means you cannot use this. You need the permission. Too much of a work there. So let's look for another option. It all boils down to how well you can search. All right, you can easily find some good maps here. See, I found this one. Click on view image. So Switzerland is already circled. I can circle India, right? So copy image. And paste it here. Just Control C, Control V. I will reduce this a bit. This is my map of the world, and this is Switzerland. And I also have India here. So let me highlight India. How do I do that? I can just add a particular block. So I'm saying insert shapes. So I'm just going to pick a random shape here. Just a moment. I'm just adding this particular shape. Now if you notice, it's with a dark line, so I will make that change right away. So right click, format shape, line color, so I will say no line, fill, let me make it red. Okay. Now I know this is Switzerland, but it's still not visible. What I can do, I can just add another block. So I know there are two different identifiers here. Now I want to add a label. How do I add a label? First, let me add a text. This is Switzerland. I will change the font. And I want to add an arrow. So let me change the arrow style. The width is 0.75. I want to make it 2. Line color, let me make it red. And then I want to point out India. I can just copy the same arrow instead of inserting again. So I have Switzerland here, I have India here. So I want to move this just a little bit so that this is far more acceptable. Okay. Now I will add a text. So I'm just adding a good to know, or rather need to know information, and I'm going to add that as a bullet point. All right. So I'm just saying current scenario, I'm just making it very graphic. I'm saying the population of Switzerland is equivalent to the number of students graduate in India every year. Switzerland is ranked on top 5 in most innovative country. India's ranking is beyond 60. Okay. So this is my current scenario. Next, what companies are looking for? Again, I will copy this. So basically, I'm designing the whole thing in the very uniform manner. Okay, what companies are looking for? So I will add my text here. Companies today look for skills that were preferred in the past but have become essential in the present. So earlier, if you say that you are a fresher from Andhra University, and apart from your academic qualification, you also are very good with presentation. So if you're not good with presentation also, they will hire you. Okay. But if you have a good presentation skills, they will prefer, okay, fine. If I have to choose between two candidates and one candidate is saying, and both have scored equally well in terms of interview and assessment, one candidate says he is good with presentation, they will prefer. But now, in order to even go for the interview, they will ask, are you good with presentation or not? If you say no, you won't even get a chance for the interview. This is just an example. The point that I'm trying to make is, for this presentation, basically we are saying there are skills that were preferred in the past but are essential today. What are these skills the companies are looking for? So let's add that information. Okay. skills that make a difference for freshers. 1. Cognitive skills. Now, the moment I said enter, the system automatically picked up number 2. Okay. Communication skills, soft skills, behavioral skills, technical skills. I can just add a few more points, right? So this is what companies are looking for. Now, so now I want to add another slide. Now it will basically talk about key skills, which I have already included as part of what companies are looking for. So if I have to expand in terms of what these key skills are, so let's quickly add a slide here. Again, I will copy paste the format. Key skills. Now let's pause for a minute. So far we have learned how to add a new slide, how to add a title, how to make the title on the slide look pretty much similar, because if you go from one slide to another, if I go to the slideshow mode, so if you see, all the titles are aligned exactly the same. You can't really make a difference. The font size is same, there's not much of a difference. Now if I have to add a custom animation, for example, I want to add a custom animation on this particular slide which talks about key skills. So I already made a list of key skills. Here I want to add a custom animation. How do we do that? So go to the edit mode, come back here. Now add blocks. Now for every element you need to create it separately, okay, in order to custom animate. So key skills, the first one I am saying is cognitive skills. Let me change the font type and I am bringing it here, okay. The next one is communication skills. So instead of again going to insert, text box, it takes a lot of time. So what I'll do, I'll just select this and copy paste. And I need to ensure the alignment is exactly the same. Communication skills, soft skill, behavioral skill. So I am saying behavioral skill and oh, where did it go? Just a moment, I just lost that slide. And say technical skill. Just imagine this is, just assume this is my last element, okay. Now if you look at the slide, the alignment is actually not perfect. The gap between the T and this, and there is a difference. So I need to align it perfectly. So what do? I use this particular scale. It right now shows 0, 0 on top. Bring it close to, see, look at the gap here and look at the gap here. That means I need to move this to the right. Okay. Basically, I will keep it absolutely uniform. Now that it is uniform, if I don't custom animate, every information will come at a time when I go to the next slide. But I want it to come one by one. How do I do that? I go to animation, and I click on custom animation, which is here. Select the object you want to come first. So say add effect, entrance, appear. Second, entrance. You can choose whichever type of entrance you want. You can click on more effects to get more options. There are a lot of options here. I am choosing appear because it's very formal. Okay. Now, my previous slide, every information in the particular slide is coming together, and here it has to come one by one. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, because I have added 5 elements. If I want to interchange something, say for example, if I move this block here and move the remaining on top, what will happen is the communication skills will still come second, because that is the number, that is the sequence on the right pane I have mentioned, which means this is block number 2, I need to move it down. Now it will work fine. So basically what you are doing is you can change the sequence from here, even if you move it, but you need to ensure you change the sequence from here. Okay, that's how you do custom animation. So when you are working on a presentation, please pay attention to the design. When you are picking a particular picture from internet, ensure there is no watermark or anything, because you may get into trouble. Basically, watermark means it's copyright. You cannot use that without permission. Okay, I need to see some presentations which you guys are making. If you do not prepare a presentation and share it, obviously there is no way I can do it. So how do you share it? If you are watching this program on television, this program will also come on YouTube. If not now, it will come later. You can search for it. When you find that link, finish watching the entire program on YouTube, and on the comment section, please post whatever questions you have, number 1. Number 2, you can prepare a presentation, save it on Google Drive and mention the link so that I can go and check. I will surely check the presentation and I will give you the feedback. All right. So I hope this was helpful. We just tried creating a sample presentation so that we can put all the learnings together and have a practical orientation. All right. I'll see you soon whenever I'm doing the next session. The next session will be on Excel, which will be very exhaustive. So please do practice and post your questions. All right. Thank you so much.